Thank you. Okay, hi. Welcome to the national platform. Before we begin, would be great if the OC and maybe the national board could also come downstairs. Or someone from the OC who wants to say hi to people. Beta, you want to come stand with us as well? Okay, so today we're just going to say hi and welcome to you guys. Tomorrow you'll have like a proper speech. Jose said something about confetti cannons and maybe a dance. You'll be there, no worries. But for now, it's just, welcome from the city at least. It's me, Jens, as your main chair. Got Berat over there as technical chair. And my chair over here is doing the minutes and cleaning his glasses. Very important. Still hearing voice. Oh, I know why. Berat, the last week is still but that's okay. For now, maybe the OC also wants to say something.
Hi guys, we're happy you're here.
Fair enough.
Well, also from our side, from the National Board, we want to welcome you to Vienna. This is the first national platform this year. Yeah, it's the roaring 20s as far as I heard. So let's see what's prepared for us during the whole MP. I'm really excited about it. And well, the opening speech will be tomorrow, so no hard facts today. Enjoy.
That's it. Also, you can find everything happening like in the MP on the agenda, Jose, so you can find it there. With this, you can go sit again, but thank you, and welcome to the national platform. Berat will be not joining us here. He'll be sitting there most of the time because he's doing the live stream, so everyone at home can follow as well. So, for him. Just for reference, how many vote delegates are there in the room? Could you just put up your hand? Good, you did 2 at once. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Am I not counting? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. Yeah, okay, we have 9 vote delegates. Yes! Doesn't matter. I counted 9, so we're good. So that's great. So before we start with the normal agenda, that was actually planned out. We'll do the quorum in a moment, but no, actually, let's do it now, I suppose. We'll do a quorum question. It's just to see if we have more than half the sections here, so we can actually start the event, which would be nice. For the ones who don't know yet how this goes, your section will be called on, like the name will be said just in a moment, and then you just say yes, no, or abstain, or in this case, yen, nem, or huh? Or 1, 2, 3 if you can't figure it out. And that's about it. It's very easy. It goes one by one. My chat over here will help me out. He will write it down. So let's try this out. Should we have the plenaries in Hungarian? BFI?
Ja.
Was?
Du musst einer
I think
beantworten.
that's a huh. So should we have the plenaries in Hungarian? BFI Vienna?
Sag einer der Antworten.
No.
That's a 2. Yeah. What's next? For the network, Theo Wien, who's not. Oh no, wait, Theo, what I'll get. Yeah.
Igen.
VKW, FHWKW?
No.
Bogu?
Igen.
Innsbruck?
Nem pot.
Klagenfurt? No Klagenfurt yet, that's fine. Krems? No. Kufstein, Leoben, Linz, Steyr,
Nice scratch.
Technikum, TU Graz, Uni Salzburg, Uni Graz, Uni Wien,
Seven sections.
yeah, so we have 9 vote delegates in total. I counted correct. Lucas, I don't know where you found the 10th one, but it's not here. So, yeah, we can actually start the event. So now, the fun part starts. Let's get to that. The agenda. You've all received the agenda last week, and then on Monday you received the final version. Or so I thought. Yeah, bunch of changes. Basically how it works is because I send out the final agenda on Monday, you just have to, well, you have to approve the agenda anyway, but you also have to approve the changes to it. So what happens, and I will show it in the agenda, and it's color-coded and everything. Friday A. So, wait, let me make this a bit bigger. Really? I added a point for figuring out the agenda, which is right now. And there is an audit presentation at the end of the day that was added as well. Well, almost end of the day. So please approve this later on. On Saturday, this working group proposals for point system was moved to before the coffee break instead of after a small session. So it used to be here on spot 6, now it's on spot 4. All the small sessions have been moved around. So let's see. This was the original with small sessions. 4 here, 3 here. Now there's 3 here, 3 here. Also, Lucas, you're now in the afternoon. Peter, you as well. Mario, you're not here, but you're now before lunch. And I'm also before lunch. Oh, Sophie, you as well. So those changed. Also, Lucas's presentation was moved to before his small session. It used to be like here on spot 4, but it didn't make sense to make him present there when his small session is here. So we got that going for us. And then Sunday, yeah. So Rafael and Gernot switched spots on their presentations. This was requested by them. Jeff wants to be here before coffee break, so they're there now. And Code of Conduct is after coffee break now because I had to move them for Jeff. And I think that's it. So that's amazing. So yeah, a bunch of changes. Which, if everyone approves that, well, we'll vote on it now basically, but we'll vote in them in one go if you approve the agenda with the changes. If you don't, you can obviously vote no, but please don't. Because I actually don't really know what happens then.
Online one is still the old one, I understand that you were aware of that.
Yes, it's still hidden until it's the official one. So yeah, with this behind us, second vote of the event. Do you approve, well, do you need a moment to think about the changes or are you fine? I mean, I planned in 10 minutes, so. Great. What? I didn't hear again because he coughed again, sorry. Okay. Do you approve the changes to the agenda? Yes, no, or abstain? BFI Vienna?
Yes.
Buddy Network TUV?
Yes.
Actually, now that they're not here, I can just say TUV, right? BKW?
Yes.
Vocal?
Yes.
Innsbruck?
Yes.
Klagenfurt? Not here. Krems? Kufstein? Leoben? Linz? Steyr? Technikum? TU Graz?
Yes.
Uni Salzburg?
Yes.
Uni Graz?
Yes.
Uni Wien?
Yes.
So with 9 yeses, the agenda is approved. Yay!
Be happy.
Okay, with this behind us, the last slide for now. We'll have the real rules of the event tomorrow. We'll have a more longer presentation, but for now, just for the ones who are new here, we have this system with hand gestures to make it easy for everyone-ish. So if you have a question, you raise your hand, as you do in school. Thank you for the demonstration. If you have a reaction on someone's question, you raise 2 fingers. Beautiful. And if you have a procedural question, like opening a window, it's 1 finger. Also, no talking during presentations, pretty straightforward. Oh, yeah, let's do that one in a second. Everything else will be explained tomorrow, except what Maciej is about to say.
And if you want to request silence in the room, hold up both of your hands. Okay?
If someone does this, everyone else that sees it should do the same, so you create this wave of everyone saying, be silent.
Not
Also, don't talk while you're doing it, because that's kind of counterproductive. But it happens. With this, I think it's already time for the 3-year strategy. Great, which is done by Jose. Oops.
No one is perfect, I would say. Exactly.
Jose, bis Tafelkante.
So I have to stand here because of the last one. Can everybody hear me? Great. So basically, this short presentation will be about some ideas that we have been having around creating a consistency in our network. You know, we've been developing many skills, we've been developing many events, but the continuity of these events and of these, let's say, measures that we have been implementing was not given so far. So one of those ideas were actually creating a 3-year strategy, which is very essential, you know, for us as an organization to actually continue on. Well, there are many theories about it. For those of you who study management, probably you know this, the golden circle, you have probably heard about it many, many times. It's actually about creating the sense of what we need, how we're going to do it, and why we need it. The why is the most valuable one because it's actually the purpose that we're putting behind this whole strategy. So, what is a 3-year strategy you might have in your mind? Yeah, of course, it's a plan for the next 3 years, how to develop ourselves. But for our organization, it's essentially because, well, we have to define goals that we want to achieve after these 3 years, starting whenever we want to start with this plan. It's a systematic breakdown into the most important things for us as an organization, being the Erasmus Student Network, being recognized by the government, being a Verein, being whatever you want to call it. We need this. This is essentially for us to develop in a certain direction. It's linked with the new, let's say, the new measures that were voted by EASE and Review of creating action plans and let them, the MP vote on that. And I think it's necessary for the future boards to actually start thinking about what the network thought was necessary for us in the next 3 years. So that all the action plans are linked to a common goal. So that the next board doesn't work on another action plan, it's necessary and thinks this is not necessary for us because we don't want to work on it. But the MP voted on that and we have to stick to this plan. How can we do that? Of course, first of all, we have to develop a timeline on how we want to work on that. Personally, I've been thinking about starting this for the second mandate so that we can actually work until the next election period, which will be hopefully February 2021. That will be the timeline to start and to end it. Well, it's necessary to actually review and validate our mission and vision, analyze what ESN International has decided for the 6-year strategy, link it with our needs as an organization in Austria, and of course analyze what it's happening around us so that we can actually start creating our own vision adapted to our own purposes. After that, of course, we need to gather relevant information. We have the national agency, we have the European Commission, we have the ministries, we have other partner organizations that we can work with. We have to analyze what they're doing and see how they can contribute to our purpose and how we can actually work together with them. It's necessary so that we can establish sustainable cooperations in the future. This is necessary if you want to grow as an organization and be visible in this country. After that, and reviewing all this information that we're gathering there, set the goals for the 3 years. This is necessary. Again, an action plan, we are making goals for 1 year. With this, we have to think even further. We have to think how we want to create the sense of need, the sense of development for ourselves, so that we can actually start saying we're ESNers and not just we're doing some fun stuff, which we're also doing, but I think the purpose behind ESN is much, much greater than we're doing right now. After that, of course, writing the plan and approving it, hopefully, the National Platform February 2021. Now, the best part, and I think the most important part, is the why we need this. So far, as already told, we have not had any consistency in development in the last years. Many courses come up, a lot of people have been working, tackling the needs and the problems we're currently having, but not thinking about how we want to develop with these problems. We can actually work on that now, but there will come other problems. How are we preparing for that? So this is actually what we need in order to work properly, to improve our work as an organization again. We've lost many partners because of that. One of them, of course, a very valuable commercial partners, because we didn't have a goal with them. We've been approached by them again. We're trying to find solutions to work, but of course they need an assurance that we will be here as an organization in the next 2 years at least, so that they can, of course, sign an agreement with us. There have been no clear structure according to our needs. Every year we're renewing the national coordinators. Every year we're thinking about which tasks are going into which NB position. I think we need to clarify what we're actually aiming for, and therefore set the structures and the fundament for that right now. And of course, already mentioned different developments within the country. Many sections are working autonomous, which is necessary because every local level has a different reality, as we call it. But I think we need all the sections to work together so that we can all show ourselves to the government, to organizations as one, as a network. This reality, of course, is different. Many countries are bigger, others are smaller than us. But I think with 16 sections right now, we can do more than we have been doing so far. And of course, other countries already implemented that. Spain, Italy, Portugal, Greece. And I think these countries are the ones leading right now. They have many people being in the national board, international committees, international board, international committees, international communities, leading a lot of things. And I think if we plan for the future, we can also do the same for that. So, of course, we need our own vision for Austria, and I hope this is a process that we can all make together. Again, this is not my thing, this is not a national board thing, this is, I think, necessary for us as a network. If you are working for the Erasmus students, if you're working for ourselves as CSNers, and if you want to contribute to the society, to the community. Because I think we can have a greater impact than just create events that are really fun, but I think the social purpose that we have as an organization is much, much bigger than we are thinking right now. So I hope this presentation sticks in your mind. It will be in the folder. If you have any questions, I think there is a part for questions right now. And yeah, we can discuss about it right now, and in the next days we can also talk personally about it. Thank you.
Do we have a volunteer here from the OC by any chance who could go around with the microphone? Okay, I guess I'm. Oh, there. There.
If there are any questions, just raise your hand,
Raise your hand and name and question loud and clear, okay, for the minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, but we need it for the live stream, that's all.
ESN Uni Wien, Florian Schütz. Why do you want to vote on it in February 21? Wouldn't it be more useful to vote before you have a new board, and if there are if it's not accepted or changes or something like this, that you can adapt it before the new board is coming?
Well, during the process, this is something I didn't want to go into really details, but this is a process that has to be reviewed every time. We create, let's say, the strategy, then within the group that is working on that, it has to be reviewed. Again, feedback to work on that so that the final, let's say, paper, the final outcome can be voted on the MP. You know? So that the next board that will be elected, which starts the mandate on May 1st, should already start working on the action plan with the voted 3-year strategy.
My idea was if it's not accepted at the voting the first time, you will have to have another vote in between, kind of. If you make it already in November, the vote, you will have the next MP to change, adapt it for voting.
That's of course, you know, that's just playing with hypothetical
Just
things, but of course, I mean, there are many methods to actually overcome this. For example, just by explaining to people, okay, why it's necessary. There's a whole group, and I hope and I expect that everybody here at least can be part of this process, you know, so that we can get as much feedback as possible. And of course, so that we have, again, we have this strategy to be voted, only to be voted, to be confirmed by the national platform, and we don't have to get to this point. This is the idea behind it.
Thanks.
We're like 10 minutes ahead, so all your questions.
Gernot Huschak, it's anonymity. I really like this idea. It's a great idea which brings more continuity, as you already said. As this also includes then the action plans, how will that also adhere to the future action plans that then follow up? Like, will this take away a little bit of the freedom for the national boards, or how would you state on that?
Valid question, valid question. I mean, of course, the goals to be set has to be very broad, you know, so that we can be flexible on how to approach them. That gives, of course, the national boards a sense of, okay, I have to work towards this because we haven't reached that goal. But of course, if, let's say, if after 1 year we already guarantee the financial stability, of course, they can go ahead and think about themselves, you know. But it's just to have, let's say, a certain pattern to follow, and not only, you know, make it rigid, so that everybody has to just work on that, you know. It has to be a flexible and dynamic process in the moment. Any other question? I like it.
No more questions? I hereby close the speaker list. Any objections? No? I figured. Thank you. Great. Thank you, Jose.
I can stay here. I mean, it's also
Is it? Right? Give me a sec.
Perfect, I'm just gonna try something. Great, it works. Actually last year already, I think the past board was actually already starting to talk about training events in Austria. For those of you who don't know what a training event is, I mean, it's self-explanatory. It's an event where we can train our members to become better ESNers and to gain valuable skills that can be implemented in ESN, but also outside of ESN. That's the idea behind it. Well, together with Stephanie, we've been thinking about, okay, how can we actually make it happen? You know, there are many possibilities, there are many ways to actually establish such a thing in Austria, because, again, we have many countries already working on that. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel, we just have to take the wheel and use it. In this case, we have been, of course, trying to see which options are open there. Just a brief overview of the topics, you know, like the why, the when, the where, how much, and what. Well, why? Basically, as already mentioned before, we need a certain consistency in our work, and we need to guarantee that our members have the skills to actually work in ESN as an organization. Many of us are studying in many fields, and those skills are very needed, are very necessary, but are they linked to the causes of ESN? Are they linked to our purpose as an organization? And I think this is why we need training events to actually foster that and improve the quality of our, let's say, of our actions that we have in our country. So, first of all, we have practical skills. Most of us are getting empirical skills right now. We're organizing events, and it's like, yeah, that's how we've already done it all the time. What are we doing then? We cannot think further than that. The idea is to bring knowledge to our organization so that we can see how we can actually improve our work. In this case, of course, it's a quality that we have to guarantee in the organization as a network. This word here is also here. We are Erasmus Network Austria, and as a network, we have to work together in that case. We have to be aligned to the causes that we're standing for. Well, since last year, we've gathered feedback from previous training events that we tried to organize. I think, when was it? June, July? Lucas? It was in June, yeah. Well, people said, yeah, it was during the holidays, it was not possible, I had exams, it was too expensive, etc., etc. Okay, valid. Now, I've been trying to gather feedback from the presidents to see what they think about their sections. You know, they should keep the overview of the section of the members. And yeah, it would be very interesting for them. And they would have people to send to if we find a date for that. Where we come to the when. Well, there were 2 dates, 13th to 15th, which would be in 1 month and a few days. And the 20 to 22nd. So we had to stick to this date because it was feasible for Jeff to give us a surprise that I have prepared for that. It's 2 weeks before Alps, so there is no excuse to say, yeah, but we have Alps in that weekend and we can go there, we want to go to Alps. No, it's 2 weeks before that, so you have time to prepare for that. And yeah, it's after the welcome weeks. I think most of us are having welcome weeks starting on Monday, other ones in March. This is after that, I hope. That's what the feedback we got. Where? Well, basically, we've been trying to find locations for that because, it's actually the highest cost factor that we can have organizing an event. And we find a very, very nice solution, which is called the Europa House. It's the Max Brachko House, something like that. It's in Hellersdorf by Wien. It's close to there. It's like 10 minutes by bus from Alautergasse, the U1 station. So everybody can go there. It's not far away.
Okay, so now the most important part, how much would it cost for you? It's not exactly defined yet, but probably it will be cheap, since we have the housing for free. But there's just one thing. There are no real beds. It will be like a Matratzenlager, so there will be some air mattresses, and we will have to use sleeping bags. But it's also kind of an adventurous training event then. And we will have a kitchen, so we will cook some delicious food, or you can also cook together maybe. And next to the location there would be a cheap Heuriger. This is a kind of restaurant. I checked the prices. They have schnitzel for 10 euros more or less. And we could maybe have dinner there, but we still have to speak about this when we know how much we will pay in total. Yes, what are we planning to do? There would be 2 tracks at the same time, so like one for newbies and one for oldies with a bit, yes, with a bit more intensive topics. And of course, team building will be an important factor of this training event, since usually at MPs we don't have enough time for this. So at the training event we will do it, since like that we can become even better ESNers. And of course the fun is a really important part. We will eat, talk, socialize and make memories. Hopefully.
Yeah, everybody ready?
This would be a possible agenda.
Well, basically, the main factors already mentioned would be, first of all, clearing the team building aspect. So the first day, while people are arriving, we can have games, coffee break, team building activities, dinner, and they just, stick together. This whole day is meant for us to know each other, so that we can establish some fundamentals to work for the next days. The second day on Saturday, Well, breakfast will be kind of early. Depending how high this year is, the harder it will be here. But yeah, I mean, the idea is to have workshops not only for 1.5 hours, but have 3 hours of workshops, so we can really focus on certain topics. I've been talking to other organizations to see how they can help us to create the content for this. Be it Jeff, be it ISEC, there is another presentation after, but the other organizations that are really interested to cooperate with us and give us their knowledge so that we can improve our work and not stay in this ESN bubble that we've been living in for the last years. So we can break that up. The lunch break, of course, and then again another workshop, another topic, both for newbies and oldies. And yeah, of course, dinner in the night, and maybe we can have a party there. As far as I talked today with Daniel Guerra, the Geschäftsführer from Jeff, he said it's for free everything as long as we don't damage anything. I think we can do that. I think we're all adult enough to do that, and maybe we can have a party there. Let's see. On Sunday, of course, we will have another session of workshops and short presentations about the outcomes we've been working on, so that we can all get the knowledge from the different point of views that we've been gathering throughout the whole weekend. This is very necessary so that we can all stay also on the same information level. And after that, of course, is lunch break and departure. This is sort of an agenda that we've, we thought about how we can do that. We've taken many templates from other countries and see how we can make it possible. The more we can work on that, I think the more information we can grant you. And I think this week we will be able to give you more insights on this, okay? So I hope this is very interesting for you. I heard, Camila was right? She said she was coming to the net training event. Exactly, I like that. I like the initiative, she heard about it, she's coming to that, and I hope all the other people here that are also sitting here listening to this presentation are coming to the training event.
Yeah.
Nice, I like that. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can approach me or Stephanie. We'll got the two coordinating this together with Sophie, who's granting us the feedback for the section question. Thank you.
Okay, question round. Right.
Yeah, procedural?
Hello? No, it's a question.
Ask.
Okay. Maria is from the Czech Republic. So, do you think this event more for oldies or newbies? And for what did the maximum of the participation? Thank you.
Well, again, the idea behind this is to have an equal partition on newbies and oldies, so that we can both, guarantee that there will be a certain outcome after this strikes. We haven't thought about a certain number of participants due to the fact that the last training event didn't have as many registrations as we expected. So we're trying to push it in the direction of this more team building and getting to know each other. Facts that we don't have here as much as we would want to have. But the capacities for the house is 50 people. We've been thinking about 30-ish, so that we can start working on that. Okay, so that would be the numbers for this training. Pete. Oh, Sophie? Okay.
Yeah, it's a general comment on the presentation.
Okay. Was it the wrong template?
Sophie, National Board, whatever, content-wise, on this, whatever you tell us, like Jose, Stefan, and me during the weekend, we can work with that on that training event, because it's important that we know what you want to have. Of course, we try to get all the information from the national section questionnaire, but please tell us what you want, that we can work on that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I ask 2 questions in a row or one? Thank you. Peter from ESA Technicum. My first question is, I remember from last, the way it was planned last time, that there was a limited amount of people, which was like 50 to 20. And so I would ask if you want to push for more, because the reason why it was limited was to make it actually a training event and to be more like effective that way. And my second question is, doesn't it mean it's basically an NP with the only difference that all the plenaries are substituted by additional workshops?
To answer your first question, we don't want to set a limit so that we can actually, the more registrations we have, the more people we can actually gather so that we can calculate easier, because we don't have the highest cost factor, which would be the accommodation, We just have to plan for the food. So in this sense, we're very flexible to organize it. Regarding the second question once again,
Yeah, it's like to me it seems like it's an NP, just that it's not.
Well, NPs are statutory events. By law we have to have them. First. Second, it's where we have the opportunity to discuss about proposals. In the summer about statutes, voting the national board, all these things. So this is actually a substitution of taking all this packed agenda that we're having right now with workshops, presentations, votings, proposals, all that stuff, taking the aspect of workshops, which is a very, very intense time frame that we're using there, taking it out, accepting it, and focusing more on one training event, gathering knowledge, and the other ones will be more on decision-making part. Reaction?
What you said, sorry, Lucas is an national board. Look at this agenda. We already have workshops that we split into 3 parts, that we have to split the participants into 3 groups, so we are able to make all workshops that they're requested. Majority of the workshops we're doing right now are requested workshops. So it is a way of making the MP agenda more cheap.
Thank you. Anna?
Anna is at Univien. As it's taking place in Vienna, don't you think it will be just a bigger team building of ESN Vienna and not ESN Austria?
Depending on the registrations, of course, we have to take this into consideration that if we have more people from Innsbruck, for example, that are interested to come here, people from Klagenfurt, we have to make it equally, We have to make it feasible for everybody to participate, first. Second, as I know, Vienna is planning their own team building event in April. So of course this is something we also have to consider there. Vienna people will be probably attending this one rather than the training event, which we're opening to the whole network. That's the idea behind it. Did it answer your question? Do you have another question?
Well, how do you want to do it that also sections from far away will come and pay the costs they have for travel, for example?
Well, basically, again, we're trying to make this event as cheap as possible so that they can all participate on it. We'll try to make it, let's say, not more than 30 euros, which is already really high. But of course, depending on if they're really interested in sending the newbies to get more insights of ESN, the more money they will invest in this. So, wait, is there a question?
It's a reaction from so.
Yeah, there's a reaction here.
Sophie, National Board, to answer your question, that's why we need to make the content, because if we can offer you a content like we say we want to give you that, and then you see the need and you can send your participants, and it's more that people apply to go there. And if you know the date, then you already could book, the travel.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so
name and section.
Yeah, my name is Menelaus and I'm from ESN WKW. And I would propose that if there are people coming from, for example, Innsbruck or something, that let's say the cost for the people in Vienna, it's literally just the cost of the food. So that maybe the people participate also, that they split the costs of traveling. So for example, people that go for longer travel, which is Innsbruck to Vienna, it's not cheap with the train or with the car, that they get to pay less for food, for example, or not at all. So it's fair. So that everyone has like a chance to participate at the same level.
Reaction?
You wanna ask?
Go for it.
Gernot, ESN Uni Wien, ESN Austria is currently expected to make this year 8,741 euro of positive Überschuss. I don't know what the English word for that means. It's not profit.
It's not.
We are non-profit. Hence, I think there could be some thinking about that.
Can you react to that?
You can answer that.
No, basically that's what I wanted to answer to you. You know, like that's why we actually wanted to make this ESN card fee that sections are paying now, so that money can be reinvested into the sections. You know, for more purposes for national-wide events, so we can again start working better in that field. There was another question.
I have a comment to Sophie. Anna ESN Uni Wien. Don't you think that it's like 5 weeks from now the training event will take place, that it's quite a short time amount that people will travel again, for example, from Innsbruck to Vienna, and they say, well, I have been to Vienna 5 weeks ago and I need to go again.
Is that a question or reaction? Comment.
So Magdalena, yes, in Innsbruck. So as you're all talking about us, I want to say something too. I think for us it's not very easy to go to Vienna all the time. Firstly, we have to drive 4.5 hours. Secondly, most people are not from Innsbruck actually. Like I'm from Vorarlberg, the others are from South Tyrol, which means, or Italy, sorry. And I think for us it's very hard to go all the time so far away. Like in November it was Vienna, now it's Vienna, March is Vienna. And to pay from our section, it's a lot too, because now we have 3 from Innsbruck and we pay like 80 euros to come here and go back. And so I think it would be very nice for us if we could do it a little bit more in the middle of Austria.
Reacting to that, last time we tried to make it in Salzburg, I think it was. Attersee. Apostle. Sorry. That's the foreigner in me talking right now. We tried to make it there, and it just wasn't possible. We paid, I think the starting participation fee was like 90 euros. After that, we applied for a grant, and it was like 60 euros, and people still thought like it's way too expensive for us. There are many mechanisms that say, I don't know how far we can go with the expenditure guidelines. Section support fund, for example. Sections can apply for that. I don't know, we can find ways for that. You know, it's not about just giving money just for the sake of we are making incomes, but to actually, you know, use it for a bigger purpose than it's just creating more events and more financial burden for sections, you know? So we can actually think about it. Of course, there are many things we have to think about. This is the first try, second try, kind of thing, that we're actually doing in Austria, and I think it's necessary to also gather that feedback. So thanks for that. That's definitely something we have to consider now. Anna?
Sorry to. It's a new question. Oh, sorry.
Peter, my question would then be, I'm pretty sure that we're not the very first ESN country to come up with such an idea. Do you have any best practices from other countries? How they do it? Do they do it centralized? Do they get funds from other companies? Do they get anything? Because I'm pretty sure that we can get some best practices and just try to copy them in some kind of way. Yeah, that's the question.
Well, regarding that, I think, well, as far as I've heard and as far as I've asked, I think no other ESN country gets the location for free. Like, this is, again, the highest cost factor. And this is what we're trying to avoid here. So it's just basically the food that you have to pay. So we're trying in this case for the money to lower it. And So, in the sense of what was again
basically, not only regarding the money, but also, I don't know, travel costs or whatever it is, how do other countries, in case you know of any other, do it if they do it successfully? If there are a lot of sections participating, because other countries are much bigger than us as well. So I'm assuming that if they manage to do it somehow, they found a solution for that. Perhaps a funding from a company sponsor or whatever. Or, I don't know, it's a general question, not necessarily towards money.
something I haven't thought about, and personally I haven't asked about it, but we have many countries here. One of them is the Czech Republic, there we have training events. We can gladly ask them.
Nice. Question answered.
I guess it's Jens first.
Oh. On Sunday, during Jens, he is an actor, CT, whatever. During the first coffee break on Sunday, the international guests were asked to kind of present their country or share some best practices. So if you really want to know about their training events, that is the time to ask them and to annoy them about it. Or during the evening program as well. We have a lot of countries here. Use this, and if they tell you something that the national board didn't think of yet, take that information, tell them, and use it. That was it. Now it's Menelaus.
Yeah, Menelaus from ESM. I didn't want to say VKW, that's why Fabi, okay. I already proposed that the cities or the people that come from the cities that are not from Vienna, that they should not have to pay for the food, and Vienna pays more if there are more people who want to participate in this thing. But like Jose said, we have a big opportunity here with the housing being for free. That's something that I don't think you can get in another part of Austria. And we also have this whole area and everything to our use for the whole weekend. So, and like you said, it's in a couple of weeks. I don't think there is a better chance than to just do it with food. Like that Vienna people have to pay more for the food, or the others don't pay at all.
Yes.
I have a procedural question. If you go out, could you please close the door so we don't have this weird sound? Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
No, but something between. Is it okay if I close the speakers list after Anna? Or is there more people who want to be out there and need to start? As well? Anyone else? No? Does anyone oppose closing the speaker list after? What's another question, or you're opposing?
No, I'm opposing. Sorry.
Then I withdraw.
Sure.
Ask.
I guess we have someone.
Oh yeah.
Alright, hi, Josef, yes, in Czech Republic. Well, I have a reaction for that training support from country. We actually do, well, combination of everything that was already said. We have travel fund, or like fund where section members can apply for support from national level. We also try to get some, well, housing for cheap prices and everything. And right now we have really good partnership with national agency who supported us with large amount of money for this kind of events.
Can I react to that? And then you can, any other question after that?
Again, you're a presenter.
Go. Basically, you said something very interesting, national agency. First, we have to try so that we have results that we can then show them. And then we can ask for support. If we don't do anything, how should we ask for support from people? We don't have anything right now in our hands to show other organizations, other agencies to support us either financially, logistically, whatever we think about. So let's start brainstorming on how we can make this feasible. These are the dates we got, 13th to 15th of March. Let's try to make it possible, okay?
Does anyone oppose closing the speakers list after Anna?
Write me on it, then I don't.
Does anyone oppose after Jen on the speakers list?
Cannot?
Gernot, ESN Uni Wien, now the one part that you probably don't want to hear. How will you deal with the finances? We don't have the training event in the budget, you can't spend €0 on it at the moment. It's not in the current budget of ESN Austria.
We have the expenditure guidelines which actually state that the section support fund can be asked or requested by the sections, for example. Right now this is not an event we're planning to make a profit from, or at least a loss. The only loss will be carried, again, by not buying food kind of thing. So it's just a tryout right now.
The issue is not that you make a loss or something like that. The issue is that even if you get the money and you pay it, it still needs to be in the budget. Both the getting it and the giving it out. So just as a comment, if you do that, amend the budget, put a line in there, I don't know, €1,000 income, €1,000 outgoing, training event. Just to make sure.
Before Lucas, does anyone oppose closing the speakers list after this? Okay. So after Lucas's comment, we'll have a vote about closing the speakers list. You just want to be added, and then you're good? Does anyone else oppose to closing the speakers list after Anna was added? Great, thank you. Closed. Go, Lucas.
Lucas, National Board of ESN Austria, this time for sure. As you know, we already have the issue that we have to change the budget and have to vote next to our MP, so this should be not an issue.
I'm just wondering if it wouldn't make more sense before planning this event, asking, for example, during MVP people if they really want such a training event, because now it's just a short time that we have to, like, we didn't even have time to make our timetables until March, you know what I mean?
Well, basically about the training event, we've been talking about since, again, Vienna, February 2019. Then we discussed about it in Linz, about the feedback gathered. Then we presented it again, the idea of establishing it in Vienna, November 2019. And with the presidents, we discussed about it in the president's call. And I don't know if they passed the information or not, but again, that's the president's call for, you know, so that we can discuss about the ideas and they should pass the information about it, because waiting for another MP would make it more harder to plan it in that case. So, you know, this was the best outcome we could find for making it. Otherwise, May, exam period, April is of course not possible, AGM is in the middle, and then the summer would be feasible again.
Speakers list closed. Thank you. I know, Jose, you're still here. Go for it.
So, you can't get enough of me. Thank you for that. So, this is something we actually announced to put in the agenda because, you know, we wanted to surprise a bit of how far we are getting to be recognized as the Erasmus organization of the Erasmus generation in Austria. And well, throughout the last months, we have been talking with many organizations, many institutions about how we can cooperate. And well, today at 11 a.m. we got the opportunity to meet with a representation of the European Commission in Austria, which is, I think, one of the biggest institutions we can work with in what we're doing as ESN here in Austria. Well, who participated there? Basically, it was me, Sophie, Lucas, and Lucas. They are the communication manager, and from the counterpart, from the representation of the European Commission, there was Dobrinka Dimova, the head of communication for the European Commission, and Felicitas Roda, who's kind of the event coordinator. I didn't get the title of her. She was just like, yeah, I'm doing events. So, it was really nice because we actually got to present ESN We didn't talk about ES in Austria as such, we talked about the sections, about how needed, about how the sections need to have this support from institutions so that they can, of course, advocate better on the local level and implement other measures and other activities in order to gain more visibility there. Well, some general information about the meeting. We actually expressed mutual interest to cooperate and work together. I think the other board members can confirm that. They were really interested in working with us, in, let's say, use us as a channel, and them being used for us as the event magnifier, so that we can actually work towards the common goal, which is promoting the Erasmus program, promoting European values in Austria. The focus was, of course, spreading information about Erasmus, all the EU programs. They have the information, we have the outreach to the students, to the local communities. I think this is very necessary to keep in mind, because otherwise we won't find the solutions for their problems and their solutions for our problems. So, during the whole meeting, we're brainstorming, okay, which idea can we come up with, what can we do together? The European Commission expressed, well, Europa in the Schule. I think most of the people here know the project Erasmus in Schools. Well, the European Union has the same. They have a network of schools that they work with, and they were really willing to grant us access to this network so that we can implement this project in Austria. We don't have to create Erasmus in Schools network by ourselves, but use the support of the Commission to bring the Erasmus students to the schools and show the Erasmus program, show the value of going abroad and getting to know other cultures. One of those focus points that they're having as the Commission is, of course, on Lehrlinge, which means the vocational educational training project. This is a very big project right now in ESN International. Many countries were participating in that. Austria was also participating in that. Innsbruck, as far as I know, is working on that. Vienna was working on that. We can actually revive that. In the sense of, now we can go to companies, get their support of the European Commission, and show them what we can do for their VETs. Apprentices. Thank you, Petri, for that. Of course, this is very valuable for us because, as I think the last MP we talked about it together with Robert, the national agency is also focusing on that, and they are making some, let's say, funding opportunities for that in that case, and this is also very valuable for us to grant financial stability. Another thing is Europa Gemeinderäte. There's a communal service for the European topics that we can access also through the Commission. We can use the local governments, the local communities, to access them and to show our Erasmus students the value of Austria, the value of the European values in this case. Something else? Okay, sorry. And I think this is also another channel we can use to work better as ESN. From our side, of course, we need peer-to-peer approach on the European topics. We're working with Erasmus students and we want to bring all these experiences to the local level so that we can motivate more people to be part of the Erasmus generation. They can help us in that case. There is the possibility to present the network to other stakeholders. I think this is also very valuable for us because there we can gain visibility and there we can gain more access to more opportunities in the future. And of course, cooperation on the local level, and this is something I wanted to focus on because many of us sometimes have the feeling that we're just working for ourselves and we're working alone. This is an example. I think I remember Leon saying, yeah, nobody's helping us there. Well, the European Commission actually told us that Europe Direct offices are willing to take us as an organization and work towards European topics in that case. Support us logistically. Maybe I won't put my hand on that, but maybe financially. So that we can organize event in that case. Let's think that through. Of course, again, for the short term or the next steps so that we can try out a cooperation with them would be contacting Europe Direct offices. I think every major city in Austria has one. Klagenfurt has one, Salzburg. She even told us Salzburg has one of the most active Europe Direct offices in Austria. Maybe we can try for the next MP to contact them. Presence at conferences, a house de l'Europäische Union is sadly in Vienna. But it's necessary because it's the institution here in Austria, the representation of their embassy, And they also told us that they will invite us to their events so that we can give our opinion and our point of views in the discussions there. One of the, again, biggest ones was actually bring the Erasmus students to house the European Union together with the schools. Students and pupils can all be part together. We can make sort of an Erasmus in school in the house of the European Union. This is something really nice. I really like the idea, and they were open to that. They already gave us the contact for that. So we can start working on that project. I think this meeting was really valuable for us because we can then, again, access other opportunities, gain more visibility, and start appearing as an organization that is really working towards European values, toward Erasmus program, and bringing mobility to everybody, making it more inclusive for them. So, is there a question for you? Okay, great. If you have any questions about this meeting today, please go for it.
Wait. Yes, and the Vienna auditor.
We have a procedure. Peter is not
I just got the question, are we going to get financial support for that? Working with the head of the European Commission in Austria?
I was expecting that question, that's why I didn't want to mention that, because it's nothing that we can actually confirm. They said they have the opportunities, but I would not say that we will get money from them. First of all, we should start working with them, see how we can cooperate with them, and then we can think about that.
Hi, Julia Dorninger, ESN Uni Wien. I'm from University of Vienna, the Social Erasmus in Schools manager. Not official. But we have this project since 2 years, and we don't have a financial support or anything else because it was till last semester, and now it's just on our on ESM based, and it's for free. And this was just what I say at the moment. And the discussion was in the university or with the university that we won't get anything from the University of Vienna.
Okay. No, basically regarding that, again, they offered us the opportunity to use what they make as Erasmus in the Schule, because they already have the platform, that we can join them with our Erasmus students and kind of sort of make a mix between their program and our project. So that we don't have to actually use our resources, only the manpower for that, and then start working on this project every section in, let's say, Salzburg, Innsbruck, Vienna, Klagenfurt, whatever you think. That's what they offered.
Quick comment in between after quickly looking it up because we kind of forgot. So unfortunately, OC guests or anyone who is not an official participant does not have the right to speak. Sorry, Peter, nor attend small sessions or workshops. So thank you for the question. It's also going to be the last one though. Sorry.
I will remember that.
Any other question? Oh wait, did it answer your question actually? Julia?
Yeah, I just wanted to. Yeah.
Just a quick reaction? Okay.
Okay, Daniel, yes, in Klagenfurt. Jose, you mentioned there is an office in Klagenfurt of this organization. How should we approach this office? Do they know about your meeting?
Well, we're starting to talk about making joint promotion on our official channels, be it Twitter, be it Facebook, be it Instagram, so we make it visible that there has been a certain approach to that, right? In the next few weeks, we will try to establish a better flow of communication between the two organizations so that we can then disseminate information on how to work together. So far, you can say, yeah, we'll post on our channels the meeting about it, what was discussed, a few short things, and with that, you can say, yeah, we've been working on the national level, we've been having talks about it, how we can work together now as an organization on the local level. This is what I can suggest, Officially, we don't have anything signed, we don't have anything agreed as such. This is just a trial phase right now. So we can see how we can actually, combine both approaches. Because of course they're an institution, they have certain processes within their premises, and we're an organization, we kind of have the freedom to work with Erasmus students. So we have to level that out somehow. So far, this is the only suggestion I can make to you right now.
So it's also good if we approach as a section to the local offices and make some showcase for the cooperation.
As an example, Europe Direct, as already mentioned, they are working close with Jeff, and I already met one, I don't remember her name, she's organizing the Europa House in Klagenfurt. You can talk to her that, ESN is part of Jeff, ESN is a member there, and that we've been already working in Vienna, and you want to establish that cooperation also in Klagenfurt. Just an example.
Thank you.
Any more questions? I propose to close the speakers. Any objections? No? Beautiful.
Well.
Just 1 second.
Okay, so now it's time for workshop/small sessions. I have 2 workshop holders here. Gail, you want to come to the stage as well? They will explain to you what their workshop is about, and then while the rooms are on the screen, I'm sure they will lead you there because they know the way, right? Or there is OC. Okay, perfect. In that case, Sophie, what is your workshop about?
So we're going on an adventure. So my workshop is targeted especially for newbies, or if this is your first national platform, or in Austria, or you want to get more knowledge about ESN because you feel like you don't have enough knowledge about it. So then you join me.
So, the last MP we voted on a lot of stuff, mainly about the audit bot, but we also created a main arbitrator, and we kind of forgot what this person actually should do. And so this workshop, small session is about brainstorming what this person should do, what the task description should be there, and also kind of thinking what we could create with that position.
So, I also would like to try that. So let's do this as a chain. Well, and mine is, what are ESN card recommendations? So you all know probably this one small cool card that gives you the Ryanair discount. And Flixbus, you're right, and some other discounts. But what it's actually about is actually who should you sell ESN cards to, who should you not sell ESN cards to, how should you deal with the ESN cards, how can you use the ESN cards also in a legal way. Basically everything that has ever concerned you with about selling ESN cards and dealing with ESN cards.
So if you filled in the national section questionnaire, you have no clue about this, it's mandatory to join.
I tell you.
Live stream.
Yeah, just a short question. Who is your workshop directed to? Like, who is the ideal target audience for your workshop?
Second one. There.
Doesn't matter. Well, it would make sense if you have any clue about ESN and you're not a newbie, because then you should be there. But I don't have a direct target audience since it's a brainstorming. It's meant to be for people who have like no clue what the position should be about, and for people who has already an idea, so we can actually talk about something and not just sit in a room and be quiet.
should or is it recommendable for, especially for both delegates, to join your workshop, especially if we are voting on it?
You're voting. You're voting not on a task description. That's something that, depending what the outcome of this workshop is, we will create for the next MP. So you vote on the person and not on the task description.
Well, but the person has to do the tasks.
Well, but we cannot fix the task yet. We can only give him the recommendation to follow this task. But yeah.
That sounds like an excellent discussion to have in the small session. So in that case, if there's no more questions, because otherwise the small session holders will lose some time, you have to be back at 6, let's say 6:45. Let's be nice. 6:45. Please follow your workshop holders and you'll see people who will help them.
Jens? Jens? Mute? Mute?
So, in which room am I?
We're almost there. Jose is being a rebel.
I'm just waiting for
There we go. So now it's time for the next presentation, which is National Section Questionnaire. Yeah. By Sophie.
Okay, so you filled in a national section questionnaire. I mean, I know there was already the normal section questionnaire, but this was more that we can get insights on how you're doing. So now I present you how I think you're doing. Okay, so in general, I'm very proud because every section filled it in. Woo. And maybe presidents answered this. So some of them, like they really filled it in together with their team, which is really nice because then there is a discussion and you get even more insights. And it was split into 8 parts, so section, communication, wiki, conference, ESN part, finance, national platform, national board, and other. I won't go with everything into details because there's no time, but you get a report which is like 15 pages. Good. So part 1, like for the sections. So I figured out that you have problems with, for example, recruiting, fill-in positions, motivation, and finances. This made me really sad. But our first approach already started, so we tried to implement it already in the NP agenda. So you have workshops and small sessions during this national platform, and we can also work on it for trainings events. Then for the communication, you told us you want to have templates for Instagram and Facebook, so that's also something we can work on. And unfortunately, there's a lack within ESN Austria and the national level, where we need to figure out how we work on that, so that everyone feels interested and connected. So some answers were like, yeah, it's like there is nothing happening, which is interesting for our local members within the ESN Austria SEC, for example. So if you have anything you want to have there, so I thought about a meme channel. I don't know if
it's a very serious thing.
Yeah, to kind of get some more fun into there. Okay, so then for Wiki Conference, so with this one, I have already a working group together with Iris. You can join that whenever you want to give your input. We're happy for it because it's something you have to work on. And for us, it's like we work so often with it, so we do not know what you need, like how it's more accessible for you. So yeah, for the current wiki, so that is an Austria wiki, where I hope everyone uses it, but I know you do not because of functionality, usability, and also you have the feeling you cannot find stuff when you need it. Yes, in the beginning I had to say, so I know your problems. And also we try to, the solution will be we try to merge our ESN Austria wiki within the international wiki, but this takes time and that's something we need to work on. But please join the working group whenever you want to give input. We really need your help because, as I said, it's something you have to work on and we use it so often. So, finances. For the finances, yeah, it's also, some of you made a minus, which is also not good because that shouldn't happen. And also some of you may have like, yeah, they just made it for the year. That's also a bit concerning for me because having a minus is not, the best. So my approach would be, because you asked for budget templates, that's something you can work together on with Beatrice, and also treasurer community. So whenever you need help, please ask. Not that it's too late or something. We're here to help you. And as well, maybe you think it's a good idea to have how to budget sessions. Please let us know. Because we know not everyone studies something with finance. I also have not a lot of clue how to make a budget, but there are people you can ask to help for. So, coming to national platforms, so some of you think the cluster system we have right now is okay, some of you think, yeah, it's good, some of you think it's not good. So for that we have already as well a small session during this national platform where we need your input to make it better. Also main problems are budget, accommodation, workshops, volunteers and participation. Therefore, we need to rework national platform guidelines. That's something Lucas and me will try to focus on after this MP. And for the rest, we need to figure something out. Whenever you have input, please let us know. And then the national board, you think we're all approachable and do a good job, thanks to that. And yes, we know you get too many emails. We also do. So it's not like, yeah, it's a shock if you wake up in the morning and you have like 10 new emails. So we feel you, but we do not know any solution. It's the same, like we also get a lot of emails. So if you have solutions, please let us know. So, the summary, I think you're doing okay. But of course, we have to work on our communication. So, as I said, whenever you need something, please tell us or me, and then we can work on it, that you're doing better. So, for the future, I think I want to have feedback culture, so whenever you do something nice, we can show it like, hey, this section does this. And we also discuss it in the board, like, hey, look, that section did this and this. So you make us happy too. And that's so as I said, I think you're doing okay, but I know you can do better and we're here to help you. So if you have questions.
Great. Okay, yeah, time for questions. Do we have someone to run around with the microphone again? Perfect.
Just 1 second on change the audio.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Question section. Questions? So, I propose to close the speakers list. No objections? Amazing. Great. Closed. Yeah.
Now give me 1 second while we fix the live stream.
ID is the same? Oh shit.
Any of you try to connect to my PC right now, I will send you out of the room. This is only for data.
Done.
Okay, next presentation is Alps? Alps. Oh, sorry, yes, audit is first. Right, agenda change. Okay. It is somewhere. No.
Sorry for this bad. Yes. Fun fact, auditor's email address ended in the spam of the CT. I have no clue why.
It's a message.
Not relevant.
I think should be fine. Okay, so we're Janot and Clara. We're the auditors for the current treasurer, and we have been looking at the transactions since the last NP, and just are going to show you we have some findings, and we're going to show us we're going to show you our findings now. Okay, so wow, can I see what I'm talking about? So we have a small content overview, but you'll see it either way while we talk. Okay, so we looked, as I said, at the transactions since November. I have to look up there, yeah. Okay. One huge point, which you will also see on the budget presentation tomorrow, is that there are still many revenues and also costs outstanding, which mainly comprise OC travel costs, the ski lessons, which are still incoming, I think the rooms for the bus drivers, and the ski instructor costs. So these were the major costs. And also, again, as usual, some invoices that have not been paid. There are still invoices left from 2018, over 1 year ago. 2019, so we've got almost every NP covered. Invoices AGM 2019 closed, and invoices ESN card 2019, the winter semester. So, as usual, please look at what the treasurer is sending out, look at the transactions and payments you still have outstanding.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I can't see up there somehow, so I'll move a little bit back. Yeah. So then, two rather small things that will be hopefully corrected in an amendment that will come in by tomorrow is that on the NP links we have a difference of about 40 euros in the expenses side, which will hopefully cover in an amendment, and then the NP Vienna November is cheaper than in the budget, which means that we even get more money in use in Austria, which is a great thing. How much? I think about 700, 800 euros. So, yeah.
Questions in question round.
Then, one other thing is, this means still. The NP Vienna approved new expenditure guidelines. 1.1 states what's standing under. Basically, it means that this MP should discuss and vote about the budget for the next board. The reason is there is no MP until the next board mandate starts. The next MP will be in June or July. So for now, this means there is no budget for the year 2020-2021, which starts on the 1st of May. Implying that ES in Austria cannot spend any euro or earn any euro from the 1st of May onwards, until the next MP takes place. Which is not good. Technically, we go here against the expenditure guidelines, but without the budget, basically we can't do anything until we meet again in June or July, which isn't very helpful. The MP, I think, will then go on and propose an extraordinary MP where we can fix this issue by getting down with a new budget. And which is also a good thing, actually, in our opinion, as at this MP we already know which board members get elected, so they can already incorporate into the process of the new budget, which will then also deal with their mandate. So it's actually not such a bad thing actually to have that. Yeah, and with that I give back to Clara.
Yeah, I'd just like to add something from the beforehand slides. So regarding the budget, so we talked about there is some additional revenue from the last NP, which will be included in a budget amendment, which will also be presented tomorrow. And also we received today the link of the final last Ski Alps calculation. I think there is a minor change as well, which should also be adapted in the budget amendment. Okay, so then regarding documentation, what is maybe can I switch places so I can?
Let's go over there.
I think this is easier for me. Okay, there's some requirements in the expenditure guidelines and also in the NP guidelines where you have to put the final calculation of events, meaning the NP and also the ski event, on the wiki for the sections or other stakeholders to look at. This is, as for the ski event, it is pretty much online, so this is fine, but it is not the case for the previous NP calculations. So I know that there is the transition on Confluence and so on, but this is also discussed with the treasurer of being an ongoing thing to do and to finish and to do. So these are the two NPs which we discovered are not online in terms of calculation, which you see upwards here. And also opportunity budget spending was not in the wiki because this was still done by Thomas. There was an opportunity budget spending for transition meeting with Iris and I don't know whom, but transition and Thomas, yeah, transition meeting for which costs have been incurred and have been made accountable to the opportunity budget. And there you should put a request online. So it has a kind of formal form to do, which has not been taking place in that very forum, but has rather been just a discussion on Slack where the board members then said yes or no. This is not the optimal formal form, and we also already discussed with the treasurer the current treasurer to do it a bit as it is said for the formal form. So just saying this is still not online and has been done a bit differently than it should have done as an official request. Okay, then we have some final general remarks. The treasurer informed us that there is the opening of a new bank account ongoing, which is why some invoices have not yet been sent out, which is mainly insurance and membership fee, if I'm not mistaken. So just be aware that this is going to happen soon and do your payments on time again. Then open requests for reimbursement forms. There are also, for example, for NP travel costs or team building, which have happened within the board team. They have to do an internal refund form to have their costs given back and refunded. And this has not been done properly and is still an ongoing process. So there will be future costs regarding future cash outflows. Costs have already been recognized for, but cash outflows for those positions. Same for NP November, some OC costs and the ski event. Also, as said before, still some high revenues and costs. So cash in and cash outflows expected to happen soon. Okay, I think this is it from our side. I think the treasurer is coming down to give a brief statement about the expenditure guideline breach. And yeah.
Hello. So basically I took over the mandate from the past treasurer 1 month ago. I was not aware that I need to present a budget also for the year. It was not included in the transition. So that's why we have to have an extraordinary NP where I will present this budget. But I will send it to the sections before it so you can see it and decide what to vote on it.
Maybe just some final words. So this was a mistake that we found, but we found it because we were in permanent discussion with the treasurer. So I think I speak also on behalf of Gerda that as for the last few months that you've been treasurer, we've been very much enjoying the discussion and the responsiveness on our issues.
Speakers, this is not open yet.
This is undone, so. Unless you're
Now the
trying
speakers list is open.
Okay, do we have someone for the microphone again to walk around? Beat is doing it? Perfect, then you guys also get a microphone.
Yeah, Menelaus from. That's what?
It was a comment, right?
It was a question. I cannot question?
Use the hand gestures.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sorry. So we will have then, how should I call it? We will have a yearly budget discussed, and we will have one for the whole not season, but the whole. How was it before? You didn't present it yearly, the budget. From 1st of January till 31st of December. It was per mandate or per, let's say, semester or 2 semesters and stuff like that. How was it before?
The budgeting phase was always with the mandate, at least going back to my times as treasurer,
Yeah.
and it's still the same.
Yeah, and why do we need now one for this year, the calendar year, or would it be also mandate?
It's for the next mandate, because the next mandate starts on the 1st of May,
Yeah.
but the next MP is only in June or July. So there is no budget currently for the period from the 1st of May till the next MP. This needs to be presented actually at this MP, because there is no budget currently. The current budget ends with the mandate of the current board on the 30th of April.
No questions? Great. If there's no more questions, we'll close the speakers list. No objections? Beautiful.
It's closed.
Okay, Alex presentation now. I don't know where Lucas is. Oh, there's Lucas.
Hello. It's me. It's me again, yeah. You will see my face a lot during this MP. So hi, I'm Lucas. I'm the former event manager, and I was responsible for this. And Stephanie and Esson. So Stephanie is my predecessor, my successor, not predecessor. And so this is my last ARPS presentation. And I'll show you what happened with the last ARPS. So before we start, disclaimer. This presentation has two parts, one public part and one is an Austria only part. I'm really sorry, international guests, we have to guide you out for the second part.
You go to the dinner earlier.
Yeah, you get dinner earlier. But first, for the public part. So, crash course. Where's the clicker actually? Crash course. What is ARPS actually? Who knows it?
Newbies.
Newbies, you should know.
I'm not sure it is, so yay. So, this is our national event. Last time in so we have it once per semester. It's a ski event, 3 days of activities, a lot of fun, action, skiing, yeah, torch hike, party, lessons, and we last time had 12 participating sections. Every section could participate, 12 are actually participating. For example, for Innsbruck they have a mountain, like at the doorstep, they don't need this. So, I'm talking about this edition. The next edition is in March, already planned. Read your emails and listen to Stephanie. This is only about the last edition. So, this was the OC. You can see Esam here, me, Stephanie over there. Thanks. We got some some bigger changes for last time. It was meant to redo some of the registration parts for this ARPS, because we thought that we have the time, we can do it. So we created a new system for the registration, which was kind of, yeah, we have something new and let's do it. But, what the fuck? We have a nice background. So, registration day. So, this was the registration day, and we closed. This was a really fun day. We sold out within minutes. No, not sold out, registered out. Better? Yeah, it was fun. Oh, I have only 4 minutes.
30 seconds.
So we even had to ask the people to stop promote because we were so many people already. Vienna was registered out within seconds and minutes. It was crazy. So yeah, it was nice. Okay, so the final numbers. I have to be quick because I have 2 parts. So we had in total 3 holders. We had over nearly 300 incomings. We had 17 LCs, so the local coordinators. We had of course 3 OCs and 8 ski instructors and a lot of other ESN members who were not officially participating but kind of part of the incoming. Oh. Okay, so also move a bit. So this was the last ARPS. It was amazing. We were in America. We had a really cheap price. We had a lot of participation, and it was awesome. We had some issues, but later, but it was awesome. So how does the future look like? So as I said, I'm not national event manager anymore. I gave it to Stephanie. Thanks. So next is Seibach. Stephanie already wrote emails about that. The open call is already out. We're voting for the OC MP, so this is also kind of, it's not done yet, but you know, nearly. And we hope. Yeah. That's a small issue. Seibach is of course summer semester and Mölker is winter semester. Come on, you never make mistakes. So the future in Mölker. As I said, it was really cheap and we had a lot of fun there, and this is something we want to keep. Because in the past times, we always had to switch between locations, which is a lot of work for the OC because you always have to book hostels, a new hostel, get to know the new location, set up everything from scratch, really exhausting. But this time, we have the Tourismusverband.
Hi guys, Esam is my name. You know me maybe, if not, Esam. So, what I want to say at the beginning of the event. The goal was to create an event maybe for the future also, as Lucas said. And we was working very hard with the Tourismusverband of Mölltal, and they like us. So I'm still working on this event for the future, kind of a partnership. So we don't need to change the location anymore because the people there liked us, and also everyone who was there gave us a nice feedback. Most of it. So yeah, that's it actually. This was a big event, 3 hotels in total, and about 300 students. And yes, it's very cheap also because we can go before the season because it's a glacier. We have a glacier. So we don't have any issues with snows. Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you.
Don't have. So yeah, now if we manage to keep that location, we have a lot of room of improvements. We have settled the baseline now, and we can work on top of that now. We have the cheap price, we can keep the cheap price, hopefully, and from there we can actually think the event new. Since we have now the base of 300-ish people, we can also think about how can we create the event, what can we change in the event structure itself so to make it even more awesome. Because now the OC has the time for it, because they don't have to do it again. Yeah, that's it. So, thank you much. This was the end of the public part. I'm really sorry, international guests.
I joined you. We go downstairs.
Do we have questions? Do we have the time for it? Okay, so we have a public question part. Yay. 20 seconds, come on. 20 seconds left, I made it. So, public question parts, yes, please.
How can I get one of your hats?
Participated.
I need you to say your name and your section.
Michael is in Germany.
Right. You participate in the event. Part of the merchandising is this, an awesome shirt, and a nice Turnsoccer. Like,
It is not bad, so that's what.
this is only OC. There was another.
Hello, Maria, ESMST Czech Republic. I have 3 little questions. 3. Can I in a row? Like,
Let's start with 2.
come on, 3. 3, it's a good number. Okay, 4.
That's only 1 now.
What? So how much is the participation fee? Is it a possibility to, like, for another ESN or Erasmus students from other countries? And what will you discuss in the second part? Why is privately? Thank you.
Okay, the answer to the third part is it's private.
Second question again?
Second question was, is it any possibility for participate another Erasmus student from another countries, not, or it just for Austrian Erasmus students?
Thank you.
Okay, what is it? The thing is with the participation fee, it depends on the city. We have a base price. This one was 180 euros, and then it adds up depending on which city you depart, since you have different travel routes. What was Vienna?
No, base price was 165. Vienna was 210 with ESN, 220 without ESN.
Why did I get it? So it was, for this kind of event, really cheap. The second question was?
Is just for ESN Austria?
At the moment, yes, but we cannot prevent Erasmus students to come to Vienna and then participate from Vienna or other cities. But for the next Mölltal event in winter semester, we have the opportunity to work together with other sections. We already talked with Munich, with 2 of the sections, both sections there, and it is the possibility there that we can open it up and offer more spots. And we also had last time guest spots, which were used by one other student and mostly alumni of the Erasmus student.
And why it's privately? The second part. This is the last question.
Because it's private. Now we got some feedback from the sections, which mainly concerns ESN Austria matters. So it was decided from the national board to keep this within ESN Austria to solve this, and there's no reason to keep this outside.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Cool. Only 5 questions probably. Then I propose to close the speakers list. Any objections? No? Perfect. Close.
In that case, thank you very much, Lucas and Essam, and for all the international guests. Sophie will escort you out. Sorry.
Procedural question to the national board. I'm international.
Would you? Jetzt? Ja, gleich. Ich muss nur rauskriegen.